Welcome to our Bible study. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. Today's passage, Genesis 46. In this chapter, we see the seventh and final time that God appears to Jacob before he becomes Israel. Let's jump right in. We begin with Israel moving south to Beersheba. There he makes a sacrifice to the God of his father Isaac. And that night God speaks to Jacob in a vision. He calls Jacob by name. Jacob responds, "Here I am." Then God tells Jacob who he is and reassures Jacob that he will make him a great nation in Egypt. Notice the repetition of promises here. God repeats to Jacob what he told Abraham and Isaac, and then he adds personal he'll be with Jacob when he goes to Egypt. He'll bring him back to Canaan. And Joseph will actually close Jacob's eyes when he dies. What a glorious promise. The next morning, Jacob sets out for Egypt. His sons place him, his grandchildren, his daughters and their families in Pharaoh's chariots. They bring along their livestock and other possessions, and then they head to Egypt. When Jacob arrives with all his family, his descendants, his sons and grandsons, we see the largest group of people yet arrive in Egypt. It would have been a massive caravan. Everyone settles in the region of Here we have the longest genealogical list in the Bible, listing all of Jacob's descendants. Let's just take note that there are 70 people in all, including Jacob. This doesn't include the wives of Jacob's sons. Also, Joseph has 2 sons born in Egypt, so the grand total in Jacob's household is 70. After settling in Goshen, Israel sends Judah ahead of him to Joseph to ask for directions. A few days later, Joseph meets his father Israel in a chariot. They joyfully reunite. Now, the reunion of Joseph and Jacob is one of the most tender moments in the entire Bible. After 20 years, the brothers are reunited. Imagine the joy. But now Israel says he's ready to die. So the reunion brings closure and a sense of completion to his life. Then Joseph prepares his father and family for their meeting with Pharaoh. He advises them on what to say and where to settle. Joseph brings his family to Goshen, which is in the northern part of the Nile Delta, an area that was somewhat isolated from the rest of Egypt. This helps preserve the identity of the Israelites, and that's where we end. Now, let's think about the teachings from our passage today. Point No. 1. God leads in seasons of transition. Jacob was afraid to move to Egypt, but God reassured him personally. Like Jacob, we must be open to God's leading, even when it means change or discomfort. Point No. 2. Obedience often requires leaving the familiar. Jacob leaves the land of promise temporarily to go where God leads. Sometimes we must leave comfort zones to step into God's unfolding plan. Point No. 3. Family legacy and covenant are worth preserving. The genealogy highlights the importance of family structure and continuity. God is building a nation through this family, even in a foreign land. Point No. 4. God redeems lost years. The reunion of Joseph and Jacob shows that God restores broken relationships and lost time. Jacob had believed Joseph was dead for over 20 years. Now he holds him again. Point No. 5. Wisdom in transition. Joseph doesn't act impulsively. He guides the family carefully, preparing them for Pharaoh's questions, protecting them by placing them in good. This teaches us to handle change with both faith and strategy. Hey, thanks for joining me today as we read and study the scriptures together. If this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And remember, you can also check out our website to help you in your walk with Jesus. I'll see you right back here tomorrow.